My name is David Wolfskehl. I'm Senior Managing Director of Whitman Business Advisors. And Whitman Business Advisors supports managing partners and CPA firms throughout the United States. Our six-pack of services include things like mergers and acquisition, talent acquisition, sustainability studies, our practice growth multiplier. And really, we're a team of 14 that's focused on helping make CPA firms successful. A couple of the recent deals that we've been focused on is we've done a couple M&A deals, that have been in the $10 million plus range. And even during this busy season, the tax season, we continue to place qualified candidates into CPA firms, although that is extremely difficult, as I'm sure everybody on the call knows. I really believe that offshore staffing, and really offshore staffing, is different than outsourcing. So let's talk about that for a moment first. So outsourcing is really giving somebody else control of what you're doing. Offshore staffing is really about bringing new team members onto your team to follow your processes, to follow your procedures, just in a different location. And so I am a big believer that offshore staffing is something that is critical for so many firms. And these can range from perhaps a solo who can't find support in the United States to be able to find quality people for his team. And so I really believe that offshore staffing, not only does it save you money, but I think in many ways it helps you grow your business, and not only saves money on the top line, but translate into significant savings in that bottom line. So I love the offshore staffing and believe it's significantly different than outsourcing and losing control of the quality of the processes of the team members on your team. I believe in today's world, a firm who's not considering or moving forward with offshore staffing is putting themselves at a competitive disadvantage for a number of reasons. Number one, ability to have quality staff. Number two, the ability to increase profits by reducing costs. So, and one of the great things about offshore staffing is your ability to start small, right? So take that first step, hire that first person, that first part-time person, build your processes and procedures, and then you can continue to grow your offshore staffing operation. But again, although we're calling it offshore staffing, I think when firms do it well, it's not offshore staffing. It's having remote employees no matter where they happen to be in the world. So one of our clients did a merger and was acquired by a larger firm. They thought that part of the solution was going to be that the larger firm would be able to bring them more staff to reduce their need for this offshore solution. And the reality was that the combined firms actually enhanced and used integrity more, because all of a sudden they start to grow faster together, and that need for resources grew as their growth grew. So although the merger was very successful, it made the offshore staffing solution even more important as part of that merger. I think a couple of myths. To me, the biggest myth is that offshore staffing is only for larger companies. I think what integrity is doing is really democratizing the ability for smaller firms to work like the larger firms are by having offshore solutions, versus in the past that was only available to larger firms. The other thing that I'd really like to nullify right now is those time zone differences. So yes, it is much easier if everybody's in the same time zone. But with India, there's always overlap. So you can have that communication, you can have that learning, and you can continue to build the culture of your organization, even though some people might be able to work remote. Some people talk about communication challenges, and certainly they exist at some points and in some places. But with the offshore staffing versus the outsourcing, you're going to be in charge of who you hire, and that person's going to be part of your team. So India is the second largest English-speaking country in the world, but even with that, you'll be involved in the hiring of that person. And just like in America, sometimes you communicate well with somebody, sometimes you don't, and that's part of the interview process. There's really nothing different. And so I really think that if any firm thinks that they can thrive into the future, and that's thrive into the future with not having offshore staffing as part of that solution, I think they're adding a barrier that doesn't need to exist for them. So my recommendation is, like Nike says, just do it. You know, so often I'm talking to people who talk about issues without trying, right? And the best solution is to get your feet wet, perhaps start with one full-time, one part-time person, start building those processes. But my push is for accounting firms just to do it so you can start building that capacity and focus on growing so that you can reduce your cost and focus on increasing the profitability of the firm, and to be a leader and have that competitive advantage before everybody is doing it. So my advice to accounting firms who are thinking about it is just do it. And the cost is low enough that you're not risking the firm, right? So I would say just do it, get started. And I believe that most people tell us that they wish they had started 1, 2, 3, 4 years ago. It's very rare that we meet somebody who is doing it that says, oh, this is the worst thing in the world, and I wish we didn't get involved in this. So by doing it, you'll learn your lessons. By doing this, you'll increase your profitability. By doing this, you'll allow yourselves to grow by building internal capacity.